Next piece of the puzzle is fit the rider to the bike, so the esteemed Dave Williams has graced us with his presence and will mount the motorcycle. So the first order of business is to look at the tank. In the shape of the tank and the angle of the tank, is his knee in a good position in regards to that? Do you normally ride on the balls of your feet?
Yes.
I do. So in that case, where we have it on the highest mount for Dave, there's a small gap here, about a hand's width. So the position of the foot peg itself is fine in regards to the tank. Now go ahead, Dave, and move your foot forward to the shifter, and let's see what we got. Too high or too low?
It's too high.
So go ahead, rest your foot on top of the shifter in the normal position. You can see this is a really severe angle here, cramping his foot trying to get to it. So we can go ahead and relax his foot a little bit and move the shifter down. Now you don't want to go too far, obviously, but you want to reach a point where the foot will flex underneath, but on putting it on top is not too hard to turn it above and over. Still too high?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, Dave. Still too high, Dave.
Okay.
There we go.
Mr. Williams appears to be at peace with his current position. Now that we have that done, we can go to the other side and quite simply match this position here with the rear brake and put that into place if it needs doing. But by far this is the most critical because we use the shifter all the time when we're at the track. Now what's great in terms of adjustability here, and because of this ratio, this toe slider piece here, depending on the size of foot, and Dave's to Chris's is substantially different, is that we can open up this gap with this adjustment here, which is nice. And also in the unfortunate incident that the bike goes down, the shifter, the toe slider, will actually bend back out of the way. So that's a really nice feature of this setup. So let's put that back where we know it worked for Dave. And then lastly, on the peg itself, we have two versions of what are called cleats. A smooth version on the inner area for grip where your foot will move backwards and forwards. Then there's a machine groove, which is the breakaway zone. So if the bike goes down, this outer portion of peg will break off and this will grind down. But then the cleats on the very end, where you're moving your feet to leverage the bike, are very aggressive and quite sharp. So great features here in this rear set for very different purposes and function. One important part to remember as well when buying rear sets like this, where the manufacturer creates a separate lever to the rear set piece itself, you need to order both if you're going to do this. In the old days, when the lever was part of the rear set and everything worked together, that was fine. You just bought a set of rear sets and the lever came with it. So look at your make, model, and year. Make sure you order correctly. And when you do have a separate lever like this, make sure that's part of your order when you order the rear sets. Now that we're done with ergonomics, we know where everything belongs. So what we have to do is go ahead, pull every single bolt and put Loctite on it. In this case, we're going to use blue. And very importantly, we also need to put a little bit on our shift rod threads here. So to remember the position you have, run the top nut down. Then you can go ahead and loosen this to expose some threads, put blue Loctite in there, and then cinch both the 10mm bolts to the nut when you run the rod back up. Take your time. Don't be too generous with blue Loctite, because if you put way too much on it, you're going to have to get the propane torch out to back that nut off. Now that we're completed with the job, clearly there's a lot of features and benefits as to why you go from OEM to aftermarket rear sets, especially in regards to ergonomics, and beyond that, certain things in survival from crashes, etc., which we pointed out. Easy job to do if you just take your time, but again, just to remind you, do the dry fit first, ergonomically fit everything, and then lastly, go ahead and Loctite it. As always, we thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on Performance Upgrades.